My name's Matt Lees and I've lived in London for about 7 years, which means that wanting to destroy an entire city using my bare hands isn't exactly a new fantasy. Over the course of the last week, I've been a gigantic monkey, a pink robot rabbit thing, a Godzilla-style classic, a robotic dragon, and a gigantic penguin. But I mean, obviously what I get up to in my own time is my business. I did want to dress up as a massive Godzilla-style dragon for this video, but my brother already bought that Kigu, so I went for the penguin one instead. To make up for the crushing sense of disappointment you're now feeling, here's a video of him dressed up as a dinosaur doing a bit of breakdancing. Now that we've got the admin out of the way, let's have a look inside the box. And what a lovely colourful box it is. Look at the charming colourful characters. These are all lies. King of Tokyo is quite an unpleasantly brutal game, but it's also ridiculously fun and very easy. You can play a game in about half an hour, and yeah, it's just generally quite nasty. First of all, you've got the rulebook. To be honest, it's actually a very easy game. You're not going to need this very much, but this is a really nice rulebook. Simple 4-page jobby, and yeah, you're not going to need to reference it too much, but it's very good doing what it does. The board itself is actually very tiny. It's confusingly so at first, because you think, well, is that the board? Yeah, that's the board. Also in the box, you've got the scorecards for each of the characters. We've got Gigasaur, basically Godzilla, Mecha Dragon, or as I like to call him, Mega Dragon, because Mega Dragon sounds awesome. Alienoid, basically an alien. Cyber Bunny, does what it says on the tin. The King, he's basically King Kong with a cybernetic eye. And Kraken. In the box, you'll find some tiny plastic stands that all the little cardboard dudes go in. And et voila, a Godzilla a la cardboard. The characters you choose in King of Tokyo are entirely aesthetic, which is kind of brilliant because it means if you want to be a giant squid monster, then you can just be a giant squid monster. I mean, Cthulhu fans are in for a treat, but who doesn't want to be an alien with a ray gun? Or a metal dragon? Or a crazy ape? Or a pink bunny robot? Alright, so actually not a lot of people have probably dreamed about being a pink bunny robot, but once you've tried it, it's actually pretty compelling. The most important part of the game, however, are the dice, which are these incredibly large, chunky plastic beasts. Basically think of them as being like Fisher-Price weapons of destruction. You've also got a deck of cards, which function as items, which you can buy to make your monster even more powerful. To buy these special items, you're going to have to use energy cubes, which are these amazing little green things that look a bit like Fox's Glacier mints. I imagine you don't want to use these with small children because they do look absolutely delicious. Finally, you've got a tiny sachet of special tokens, which you'll need for some of the powers, such as Shrink Ray and Poison. Setting up a game is remarkably easy and barely requires any space. Each character has their little dude, so we've got the Kraken, Mega Dragon, and the Cyber Bunny, and then each person needs one of their little counters. After that, you get the deck of cards, which is basically the item shop, and whack out 3 of them. Add a sprinkling of delicious Energon cubes onto the table and serve. So let's just pretend for a second that I've decided to play Kraken, the ancient sea beast who knows what he wants and isn't afraid to play hard to get it. Now, rather than getting bogged down with fiddly counters and maths, the cool thing about King of Tokyo is the fact that you can keep a track of all the numbers using these cool little spinny things. The first one of all is health. Now, health is incredibly important because if you run out of health, then your monster is dead. You start off with 10 health. It's possible to go up to 12 if you become some sort of super monster, but generally speaking, it's more likely that you'll just gradually lose health until you die. Death is something that's going to happen quite quickly and quite often in King of Tokyo, but the games are only about half an hour long, which means that you can quite quickly whip up another one and make sure that this time, I'm going to be the monster that destroys the city and not you. Not you, Cyber Bunny, not you, metal dragon thing. It's going to be me, Mr. Sea Monster. Now this is what Kings of Tokyo is all about. It's all about being a giant monster and being utterly convinced that you are the best. You've got lasers coming out of your eyes. You've got breath that can burn down buildings. You just picked up a building and smashed it just because you could. How can any of the other monsters beat you? He's a stupid robot bunny. He's just a boring dragon. I'm Godzilla. I am Godzilla. I am going to beat them.
But of course you're not. You pick a monster you like the look of, you buy some amazing upgrades for him and turn him into a classic city destroyer, and then you get punched in the back of the head by your mate.
What?
Why?
Thanks.
Why? What?
Because I told him to do it. That's why I did it.
Oh, right. But no, I actually... No, I don't... Oh, fuck! Why? I think you did it too quickly. I couldn't get the words out. No!
It's a game that constantly imbues you with this incredible sense of power that's utterly false, because the games only last about 20 minutes, half an hour, and they can quickly end like that. Just the other day I was sitting around with 7 health thinking, I'm absolutely fine. Maybe heal up, might pop into Tokyo, collect some energy cubes. I'm going to kill these guys. And then bang, I was dead. I was just dead. That's it. King of Tokyo doesn't emulate any of the city destruction stuff you've seen in films like Godzilla. There's a bit of flavour with it with the cards, but really it's all about these gigantic monsters going head to head and you're not really having a clue how it's going to pan out. There are a bunch of different ways you can win, but importantly, there can only be one winner. There can only be one King of Tokyo. And it's going to be me. It's going to be me.
The other way you can achieve victory is through straightforward victory points. You get one of these for popping into Tokyo yourself. If you can manage to stay in Tokyo for a whole turn, then you'll get 2 more. But you can also get a bunch of them from picking up items from the shop and doing loads of other special stuff. It's entirely possible to win by just staying out of fights and very gradually picking up points. Although you'll need to get to 20 if you want to win the game via victory points. And to be honest, most of the games we've played have ended in a bit of a bloodbath.
So that's the overall flavour of King of Tokyo. It's just cheery violence with your friends. But how does that actually happen? Well, that happens with a degree of chunky plastic luck.
Each player takes it in turn to roll 6 dice. Now, the first roll you get doesn't mean all that much, but you can have up to 3 rolls and you can change the dice out anytime you fancy. So with this, I've got 3 of these. That means I can get, if I want to, I can get 3 energon cubes, which I can then use to buy stuff from the shop. I've also got 2 attacks there, which basically will do 2 damage to people if I choose to keep them. The numbers, however, are a different system. Basically, if you get 3 of a kind of the same number, so if I just get 3 2s, like so, then I will get 2 victory points. For every extra 2 I get after that, I'll get another victory point. So it depends how you want to play it. If you're being really aggressive, then you might want to go for the attacks or maybe go for the powers so you can get some extra money, basically. Or you can go all out numbers, stay out of Tokyo, don't get into fights, and hope that you can hit 20 before they do. Now, Tokyo is getting destroyed one way or another. It's just a matter of who's going to be the last guy standing, and Tokyo really is where pride can turn into a fall.
Being King of Tokyo is pretty damn cool. Every time you roll any attack dice, you hurt everybody who's outside of Tokyo, which means if I roll 3 of those little claw icons, I'm looking at doing 3 damage to everybody else. The problem is that everybody else wants to be the king, and that means that if you're the one in Tokyo, you take all the damage that they do.
So sure, you'll have contenders to the throne popping up, causing all sorts of grief while you're in there, but you can effectively swipe around and really take out all of your opponents. But it's a risk, because once you die in King of Tokyo, you are dead.
And when you boil down to it, that is the game. Are you going to go into Tokyo? Are you going to risk staying in Tokyo for a full round? Because if you can stay in Tokyo for the whole round and let everyone else have a pop at you first, then you get 2 victory points, which is going to step you up the ladder towards a nice tasty win. But is it worth it? Are you tough enough? Do you have enough health? Maybe you should get out. Maybe you should have got out earlier. Oh no!
A couple of obnoxiously lucky rolls can throw the whole game into disarray very quickly, but largely it's driven forward by the items you get popping up in the shop. The shop offers up 3 cards at any one time, which can be bought for the number of energy cubes that you see in the corner. The awesome thing about the items in King of Tokyo is they all tie into this idea of you being an evolving, horrible monster. It's the sort of thing that fills your brain with that batshit mental Power Ranger stuff that we all grew up with.
Aha! Every time you attack me, I gain energy. You're only making me stronger. You may have destroyed me, but I have a son who will return to fight in my place. But now I will grow bigger than you could possibly imagine.
My spider sense is tingling. But what would happen
if I copied your powers? I'm going to pick up a building and throw it at you.
The array of wonderfully silly powers and techniques that you can get throughout the game really add a sense of faint role-playing to proceedings. Now, don't get all bogged down with this. We're only pretending we're giant monsters. But when you're on a roll and you've grown a second head and you've grown an extra 50 feet, it's hard not to kind of feel like, yeah, this is good. I'm a big monster. And it's these stupid powers that keep you on the verge of feeling like you're about to become ridiculously powerful. If I can just get that card, then I'll be able to kill all of them in like no time at all. But as I said, most of the time you won't. You'll die. Everybody dies.
I've been playing it for a couple of weeks and I've still only managed to win a handful of games. Some people, it seems, are born to be Mega Dragons or Godzillas who will conquer the Earth. And the rest of us, we're just going to have to make do.